What's up? What's up? What's up? Not playing. What's going on, everybody? This is Marcus, and I'm here with my lovely wife,
Shira.
And we want to thank you for joining us on another episode of the Black Married and Debt Free podcast. Shira, how are you doing? First of all, I didn't need to check in with you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Another busy day as usual, but things are going well. How about yourself?
You know, Shira, I'm doing. You know, I had a nice little doctor's appointment today, virtual. So now that that's out of the way, you know, just on with the regular day. I'm excited about today's podcast and, you know, excited about what the day has to hold. So welcome. Shai, I want to get into this topic because, you know, a lot of what we do, I mean, if you could see us, we're spent, right? We're both tired. And a lot of the reason why we're tired, and maybe even our listeners and viewers, is because of how much work we put in, how much energy we put into making money. That's what we talk about a lot. So let's talk about this article in CNBC on CNBC.com, where they're talking a Harvard psychologist. This is the toxic money mindset that even millionaires have and how to break out of it. I'm really interested in this because sometimes we're just tired, man. We're just tired, and it starts to affect other areas of our lives. We're tired because of our pursuit of wealth and things like that, Shire, and it can affect other areas of our lives, man. So what do you think about this? We're going to comb through this article, but what is your initial thoughts on just the title?
I think the title is just a title. Yeah. I mean, I think it's an attention grabber.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I think that there's a lot of layers in just that statement about having a toxic money mindset. I think that what we're focusing on is the pursuit of wealth. But I think that some of the toxicity comes from how we work on our 9-to-5 jobs. A lot of us work for companies and organizations that are really, really demanding. You need to deliver. There's a high level of stress that comes from the day to day. I mean, it's work and it's at home, you know, but I think ultimately, I hope that folks are not just going to work to pay bills, but that their 9-to-5 job or their entrepreneurial pursuit or business is a part of their overall wealth building plan. And so one of the key things in this article is about folks who prioritize money. And there was another segment of the population that prioritizes time. And the article goes on to talk about how folks will say time is money and how that can have some negative outcomes, just thinking that time is money. Yeah. And I know that, I mean, have you heard that before?
Yeah, absolutely. Time is money. Man, I got to get out of here, man. Time is money.
Yeah, I mean, the visual that I get is literally, you know, the hamster on the wheel. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, let's dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah. And Shai, while you're pulling up some key points of the article, when you are speaking, I always assume that time and money do go hand in hand, but not in the sense of like the time is money, you know, saying, but more like you need money to buy your time back.
How so? Tell me more.
Okay, so in the pursuit of like retirement, you're essentially paying money into some type of investment in hopes to later recoup the time and have free time.
But you're older.
You're older. Less healthy.
You might be less healthy.
You may have burnt some bridges during that pursuit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. Yeah. And also looking at it from the stance that time can't be money.
Yeah.
Because I can always make money, but I won't always have time.
Ooh, man, that's so deep. That's so true. And I think, man,
so
that could preach right there.
I mean, so how do you create balance between the two? And the balance that this article speaks of is being more, I guess, mindful of the value of time. We know the value of money, okay? Like we know there's 4 quarters and a dollar. We know if we have money that we can pay for experiences that will enrich our lives, but also seeing value in time, the time that you have in your relationships, in your friendships. So,
Shire, we talk about this. I think we were on. Sorry, I keep cutting you off while you're about to pull up something. But Shire, we talk about this. How if you notice, older, more mature people, they have hobbies. Like some do wine tasting. Some older gentlemen smoke cigars.
That's a hobby?
Yeah.
That's a hobby, or it's a habit.
Or a habit, right?
I don't know.
But those things, or drink coffee, or those things that we kind of look at and we put on older individuals or more mature individuals, are things that help them to slow down. Because you can't guzzle wine, right? You can't smoke, the puff pass on a cigar. It's something that has to be savored. And I think those are things that people do really to practice timeliness and enjoying the moment and being in the moment. And so I think what you said is very true. Like, money is great, but there's nothing like being in the moment and just living life and enjoying the time.
Yeah.
Man, that's priceless.
And I would have to continue your train of thought in saying enjoying the moment. Well, what are folks in our age bracket doing from moment to moment? And one of the main things that I think of is social media.
Yeah.
And being in this non-physical world,
pretty much the Matrix. You're in the Matrix.
I guess I'm like one of the only people that haven't seen that movie.
Yeah,
Let's
true.
keep that between us, But I mean, spending time on social media, that's what we do a lot of. And I mean, over this last year, there was a time when many things were closed. And so it, to me, makes sense in a lot of respects that people would be spending time on social media.
Yeah.
But then you have to think about, okay, well, what are we looking at? How are we spending our time? I think that some of the things that we watch or we participate in can definitely plays a role into whether we're money driven or whether we're time focused,
right,
or I don't know. I think that I don't know. I mean, I think that, are you money driven? I might as well just come on and ask you.
Yeah, I'm definitely money driven at this point in my life. I'm definitely not. As I age, I'm seeing more and more the importance of time. But I'm still very naive to the concept of time. I think many young people are. I think I'm gonna feel like this forever. I think I'm gonna feel like Marcus. How I'm feeling right now. I think that this is infinite. But the older I get, I start to realize, like, oh yeah, man, I don't feel like I did at 18. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it starts to set in, like, okay, time is this thing's for real. This thing is, it's fleeting. And but in the moment, this is the era. This is the time period in our life, Shire. I think we're kind of trying to block that out, and we just like, man, I gotta get this money. I gotta continue to acquire assets and things like that because I want to enjoy life later.
Well, and I think that's the trap.
That's the trap. That's definitely the trap, Shire.
I mean, I think that's the trap because, I think that comes from, like, you're the man, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I think that's part of, like, ingrained in your DNA, the provider part of you. Mm-hmm. But the idea that I have to wait until another time to enjoy life is kind of scary. I mean, how do you know what is down the line? Why would you postpone your joy when you can have it today? And I just really put a feminine bow on that. I should reframe it to talk,
No, I love that you're going at it with the male female. And listeners, if you agree with us, go ahead and give us 5 stars on this podcast. But I like that, Shire, because I think about athletes. LeBron James, like he's at this era in his career where, like, every week he's passing Wilt Chamberlain or passing this great historic goal because he's been playing for so long. And then they'll ask him, they'll say, how do you feel about this? Like, this is like historic, and never fails. LeBron, Kobe Bryant, any guy who, had a lot of great achievements, they always say, maybe I'll be able to think about that when I retire. But right now, they can't enjoy that because they're still in pursuit of greatness. You know what I mean? I think I'm still in pursuit of where I want to be financially. So it's hard for me to just take a step back and say, but enjoy where you're at.
Right.
Because I feel like that's going to slow me down. What do you say? Is that a male thing, Shire? I feel like it is.
I mean, from your example, I would have to say yes. I
Yeah.
mean, it was LeBron James.
Yeah.
But I think that this is something that applies to both men and women. And for me, it's a struggle too, because I'm like, man, I want to make more. And if I made more, then maybe I don't even know what I would do. I mean,
Would we be happier? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know.
I feel like we should know this.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't know either.
Yeah, but it's like, why go through life and not enjoy? Why delay your gratification, personal fulfillment when you don't have to? Is really the question.
This is deep, Shire. This conversation is deeper than I thought it was going to be, because you're bringing up some great points, and me and you have these discussions quite often about, like, enjoying why does it have to be either or? Why do I have to be so wealth driven and purpose driven and money driven that you're developing a toxic pursuit of money, a toxic pursuit of wealth, because you're not even enjoying your life? You're like, man, I'm not doing what so-and-so is doing. So-and-so not sleeping. I need to not sleep. You start comparing yourself. You start doing all these things.
Yes, and it's all around. Yeah. Like, literally, we just seen an ad on Facebook talking about how to become a millionaire selling T-shirts.
And I'm thinking, I ain't selling millions of dollars worth of T-shirts, man.
Yes. And then I'm like, wait, that don't even look like a million T-shirts. Right. I mean, that looked like maybe 25, 50,
Because a lot of this is cap out here, and we just believe in it.
Right.
And it's affecting us,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's worth taking inventory of that, of what we're feeding ourselves and the effect that it has. I mean, we can't be bombarded with ads and talk of prosperity all day and not think about our own personal situation and do comparison. Like, it's such a natural thing to do that. And that can definitely fuel a person who's money driven.
Yeah.
Money is a tool. Money is important. We're not saying that it's not important, but it's just, how do we find balance?
Find that balance.
How do you?
Because you really got to check yourself, Shire, because that whole scripture thing that we love to, many people take out of context. A lot of people say money is the root of all evil, but we know the scripture says the love of money. And you always think like, man, I'm so far away from that. Like, man, that's crazy. I'll never get to that point. But what we're talking about is really towing that line of the love of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
When it starts to affect relationships, when it starts to affect your happiness, you know what I mean? And then hold on now. Now this thing's getting real toxic up in here.
I mean, and it's such a thing to where it's like, how do you know if you love money? I mean, like, how do you know? I mean, I enjoy it a lot. Yeah. It's nice to have. I mean, I remember a time when I didn't have it. So, I do have that experience to recall. But yeah, so, I mean.
Well, Shire, let's dig into this. I keep glancing over it. It says how to start prioritizing your time. So could we go through, they have a few checkpoints here. One, maybe the first one.
Yeah. So one of the thoughts, and this is from this article on CNBC, one of their tips is to convince yourself that time is at least as important as money. So it's basically telling yourself that money is important, but also my time is as well. And one of the examples that they gave in the article is a couple paying someone to come into their home to like clean it up, so that the couple would have time later. And while I understand that concept, I am personally not quite there yet. And I hear stories about people like cleaning up before the cleaner comes because they really don't want the cleaner to think negatively of them, but I think that is a really good example. Like I said, I'm not quite there yet to where I would like hire someone to come clean up. so I can have more time, but I'm going to have to continue to look for things that work for me. But if it worked for you, go ahead and call them cleaners so you can spend more time with your boo.
Yeah, that's a good example, though. Good example. Number 2 says, remind yourself of your value when faced with critical decisions. Now, this is big for me, Shira Murray.
Why is that?
You're looking at a recovering people pleaser. And I've been that way my whole life, man. I can't tell family no. I can't tell friends no. It's hard for me to tell strangers no. I'm just a sure kind of guy. And I will say yes and then turn around to the people closest to me and be like, why did I just say yes to that? And what I'm doing is I'm not valuing my time when faced with a decision. Hey, can you do this X, Y, and Z for me? I just immediately jump into yes. What I'm doing in essence is I'm not valuing my time. I'm not saying, you know what, man, me and Shire, that's a day when me and Shire usually have free time. You know what? Nah, I'm not gonna be able to do that. You know what I mean?
That is so hard to do.
It's so hard to do.
That is so hard to do. And I will tell you, one time I told someone no and they got mad. Like they got mad. And so it is such a hard thing to do. But if you are on your journey to valuing time or prioritizing time, then that's what you got to do, and we can't be all things to all people. Right. And so.
And I heard somebody say this, Shire, learn how to say no without an explanation. See, that's the hardest thing.
Okay, like give me an example.
Ask me.
Oh, can you come over and help me move?
No, I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry about that.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to do that because then you start lying. I mean, let's just be honest. Then you start telling fibs. But just say, no, I'm not going to be able to do that this time. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And just end it like that. That's tough. And
that's very hard. Right. It's almost like you have to practice for those moments.
Yep.
It's like, I think so-and-so might ask me to do such and such.
Yeah.
Let me just play through this in my mind so they don't catch me off guard. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is really good. And then one of the other tips that they share is about making decisions that allow you to have more time across your days, weeks, months, and years. So for me, it sounds like they're saying be intentional with your time. Mm-hmm. Like free time just don't show up.
Right.
Like it is very rare for a lot of us. So how can we be intentional about having these moments where money is not the focus, but we're doing things that we enjoy? I'm not saying things that we enjoy that don't cost money, because sometimes it does.
Yes.
But you're taking time out
to enjoy the time.
Yeah, for the things that you want to do. And find balance. It's hard to find balance, and it's even harder to find balance when your eyes are on someone else.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of what came out of this earlier in the discussion.
I think, Shire, unplugging is key. I think sometimes we have to unplug from the technology that we all are blessed with. And then also, just like I said, maybe you're not a wine drinker or cigar or whatever, but there's reading, there's prayer, there's meditation, there's yoga or different exercising. There's different things that you can do to like slow time down, because those are like things you do when like you really time can't be a factor when you're in a great novel or when you're reading some type of book. You can't say, you could put yourself on a time limit, but you're not, you know what I mean? You want to do those exercises where time kind of stands still and you're not in a rush. I think a lot of what we do is rush and time driven. So just maybe tapping into some of those exercises could help.
Right. And I don't want to sound like I'm lecturing, because this is a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
This is
Tomorrow,
literally a day-to-day thing, a moment-by-moment thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes all you get is a moment. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do have one other thing I was going to share, but were you going to go?
No.
Okay. I was also going to say that we come from a society that is so deficit driven. And what I mean by that is that we're always looking for a flaw, right, in ourselves so that we can improve and get better. But sometimes we have to tell ourselves that I am enough, I have enough, and there will be enough. Okay.
I like that.
And I think that is just really important to do.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is just doing the best with what you have. And
Right.
like one of the things in our story, like there was a time when we were on government assistance. Like I'm not an engineer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not one of the white collar,
Right.
professional, I work in social services. We both work for like nonprofits.
Yeah.
So we're making pretty average salaries. But because of how we are stewarding our finances, we've been able to do some really great things. And so sometimes it's not saying I don't have enough, but saying this is what I have.
This is what I have. This is more than enough.
That's Marcus. Oh my Lord.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that's his favorite phrase. It will be enough. It is enough and it will be enough.
Yeah.
And I think that, strategizing about what you have, I think that most people can do more than they expect.
Yes.
But if we focus on a deficit, if I only had more money, I would invest in a rental property. If I only had more money, I would start investing in my 401k. If I only had, like, stop eating the wish sandwich.
Yeah.
It's just like an episode on Martin where with Cole, he wanted to be one of those brothers loading up the sandwich machines or something like that. And it was like a wish sandwich when the thing that he wanted to do was totally in his grasp, but he really didn't have the mindset to just take hold of it.
Right.
So I think what has helped us a lot is saying this is what we have and we're gonna flip this.
Yeah.
We're gonna flip this. I might have to pick up a side hustle for a period of time. For a season. So not something that's indefinite, but just for a little bit of time that's going to help push forth the vision that I have. So I don't know.
That's deep, Shy. I like that. And that number 3, if you can scroll to Shy, it also brought to mind, it says make deliberate and strategic decisions that allow you to have more time across days, weeks, months, years. Let's talk about putting into place something that will generate passive income, because that's when you start talking about the years and the getting your time. That's why me and Shire really are heavy on that, because when you put something in place, if you're gonna hustle not just for now, hustle so that you'll have time down the road, right? That's what's key here. So
Absolutely.
Things like you guys know what we talk about, buying index funds, or buying rental properties so that you can get residual income, or creating something that will give you residual income through sales. However you do it, put time in that. If you're going to put time into something, put time in that so that later you will have time to enjoy.
Right. And that is really one of the keys to wealth, is creating those passive streams of income, because there will come a day that we might not be able to work for income, so we want to be able to not have to go into a formal work setting to be able to pay our bills, so it's really about thinking about passive income.
Because Shire, a lot of the stress is you're trading your time in for this money, and it's like a even transaction, like, but if you're able to flip it to where you're getting the money without giving the time, you're built that, then you're crossing over into the wealth stage.
Right. And for those of us who are still in the workforce, if you're able to invest, then invest, and know that maybe this first hour I'm working on my job, but I'm saving every single penny of it for my future. And so with that, you're not just going to work just to be going to work, but you're going to work for today and for tomorrow. And you're doing it on your terms. You're thinking about your future and your best outcome.
Yeah, I like that, Shy. I like that. That's good right there. That's good. Any more you want to add to this, Shy? Because this is feeling nice and complete.
Okay. I don't know. I think that pretty much summarized a lot of my thoughts. And I mean, that is the question. Are you chasing wealth? Are you chasing money? And how do you balance the two?
Absolutely. So hopefully you'll be thinking about this through the coming week. I do want to say this because we've let you all off the hook for the past few episodes, but I have to remind you all, please, 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 if you enjoy this podcast, do us a huge favor and like this. Give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to this, and because what that does is it broadens our reach. It tells Mr. Algorithm that, hey, these guys are pretty good over there, and we get our podcast seen by more listeners and more viewers on YouTube. So
Yes. And did you ever formally say that when we drop a podcast, we're dropping 2 versions? So there's a version with music and a version
Yes.
without music. So check them out.
Yes.
Get your preference. There's some people that like the music. There's some folks that say, they want a traditional style podcast. So we want you to know that we're reading your comments. We're taking your feedback, and we appreciate you
Absolutely
so much.
We read all the comments and all the reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts. So like Shira said, a lot of people was like, hey, I love it, but the music, I mean,
That's Marcus, y'all.
if you guys
That's
don't like
him,
music,
okay?
hey, that's
No.
But anyway, so what we did, we accommodated you, like Shira said. So there's a non-music version
Yes.
and a music
And
version.
thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So if that's all, Shira, I guess we're gonna take off. Thank y'all for checking us out.
Yes, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Bye.